TVGrace presents the inexpressible words of God, the gospel of grace, on the lips of Jesus Christ man. Abba, Father.
Let's look to Proverbs 29:12. That is today's topic, the government of God, part 2. It says, if a ruler pays attention to lies, all his servants become what? With what has the government ruled till this day? What is the gospel of circumcision for the world? A lie. That is a medicine that has expired. So therefore, leave the verse there for a moment. If a ruler pays attention to lies, all of his servants become wicked. And we have evidence that until this day, the nations, the governors, have fornicated with the Catholic Church. And the Catholic Church, what they preach are lies, because they preach the gospel that was before the cross, where the law was standing, the curse. After the cross is when the truth was established, but the governors, till this day, if you celebrate Holy Week, you're living in a lie. If you are still attentive to Jesus of Nazareth, you are living in a lie. If you are believing in baptism, rituals, ceremonies, and taking the child and making the first communion, you are living in a lie. So therefore, the whole world is living a lie. So what are their servants? Well, wicked. Notice, I've seen that the Apostle Paul, every time he spoke about family, he spoke about government. Always, he saw everything as a government. We spoke about that last week, right? First letter to Timothy 3:4, remember? It says that the widows govern their house, that the bishops govern their house. So always, the word church, the congregated, truly, that wasn't the mentality that God had with Paul. The mentality was to form a government that ruled the people. Not today. Today, people say, let me go on a Sunday to church. It's something mystical. I'm going Sunday to church. No, but Paul was always, what he had in mind was that the church governed the nation. That wasn't for Sunday and Wednesday, let's go pray. No, that was governing. So let's look at what happened. Let's look at Galatians 1:18 so we can understand this clearly. It says, then after 3 years I went to Jerusalem to see Peter and remained with him 15 days. But I saw none of the other apostles except James, the Lord's brother. Listen, he had brothers. They say Mary only had Jesus. That's something to think about. The brother, physical brother. You know that the Catholic Church presents that Mary never had other children, that she's never had sexual relationship. How foolish, as if that were something evil. Imagine. Now, notice that, let's go back to verse 18. Then after 3 years, I went to Jerusalem to see who? Who was Peter? The first pope, right? The one that was called the first pope. But he was the leader of circumcision. The leader of all of the apostles was Paul. But why does in verse 20 he says what he says here? Now, concerning the things which I wrote to you, indeed, before God, I do not lie. Why do he has to be with all of this, I do not lie? What does it matter? No, I don't lie in this. What? So it is important that he went to see Peter? Definitely, because that's where Paul told Peter the government of the Old Testament were the judges, David, Who was David? He was a leader. Solomon, leaders of God. In the Old Testament, there weren't governments apart from the men of God. Who was Moses? A governor. Always. They're kings, Christians. I'm saying believers. Imagine Christians. Believers. But it was God who governed. David governed. So therefore, what happens when Paul goes there? He says, now a new form of government is to be established. That's why when he had the encounter with Felix, he spoke to him about love, self-dominion, righteousness. Felix was afraid. What are you talking about, Paul? I'm speaking of a government. A government is coming that's different. They're going to govern differently, and that government is going to have statutes that they'll call Romans, 1 Corinthians, 2 Corinthians, Galatians, Ephesians. Those are the statutes. That's what we're going to rule the world with. That garbage. Listen, tell me something. What president is giving an example today? Why? Because what does a president need to rule? Power, right? The power of God. Power isn't in finance, but the power is in knowledge. And I offer all of you that are looking at me a new form of government that are written in the 14 epistles of the Apostle Paul, where we take our children from a young age and teach them that they are special, perfect angels. Abba Father. All of these congressmen and they complicate everything. They're scams that have not worked till this day. They haven't worked. The currency has devaluated. Everybody has problems. There is corruption in politics. Everywhere there are lies. I offer a government that's a great business transaction. It's easy. And you know what's the government? You know the way I govern growing in grace? It's easy. Listen, I have a bishop, and then the bishop has collaborators. And then one submits to this one, and that one submits to the other, and finally it comes to me, the last decision. It's easy. I don't break my head, nor do I get gray hairs for that. Listen, gray hairs are not bad, but in my case, I don't get gray hairs for that. If it give me gray hairs for something else, it's all right. But in my case, listen, it's not died. This is mine. No. And if I have to die, I'll die. That's not a problem. Let the women speak here to see if they're died. This gentleman here, what we have to do is gift him with a brush. But listen, when you govern in God's form, everything comes out easy. There is justice, equality, prosperity, healing. A government where the hospitals are very tiny. They're not even going to be medical insurances. To this day, I have none. They're going to be hospitals for the weak in faith. As a matter of fact, they're going to go to the hospitals hiding. Don't say nothing. I'm going to the doctor. Now, there's going to be a lot of asylums because this is of insane people. Look at what it says. Look at what it says in Hosea chapter 1, verse 10 and 11. Now we're going to be speaking a lot about governing because the time draws near. The time is drawing near. Look at what it says. Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which you cannot measure nor count. And in the place where it was said, you are not my people, shall be said to them, you are the sons of the living God. Then the children of Judah and of Israel, and they shall appoint one leader. And they shall come up from the land, for great will be the day of Jezreel. And I looked up that word, and that word means the seed of God, where the seed of God is going to govern the world. Let them mark us and continue to mark us. The persecution we have, it's like being pinched with a handless man. Listen, when that transformation arrives, we are going to laugh. We are going to laugh. That is our promise. And it's not out there like the evangelicals say, the crystal seas. I don't know where they see crystal seas way up there. It's down here. God reconciled the heaven with the earth and united them. Heavenlies are right here. Those that have parted right now, they're hearing us because they're in the cloud. The paradise is the cloud of witness, which is close around about us. No one has left here anywhere. It's that they're without no body, and you have a body. The blessed that part out of their body, immediately they go to that other congregation. But with the 15%, the rest have 10%. But the ones from Growing in Grace Ministry have 15% of their eyes enlightened. Wait until they maximize that to 100%. You're going to see it clearly. So then, therefore, the government begins with the family. You get married, you have children, you educate them from a very young age, reigning, hello, I received the best day of your life. You are blessed, you are complete. You begin to form them. That's why the super race is like they are. Our super race, our children, whom we are educating, that's how you form a government with people, the family of faith. What Paul told Peter in those 15 days, he said, listen, from on now, Peter, I appeared as an aborted child. I persecuted you because I didn't understand. But let me tell you, Peter, you don't say God bless you. It's blessed. What, you're going to insult me now? You just arrived the other day. Well, I've arrived as an aborted child last, but I've done more than all of you. But they say that you don't baptize, Paul. No, because that is a rudiment. And how about the communion? Come on, Peter, don't be foolish. Don't you see that the lamb was already sacrificed? All those rudiments that Jesus of Nazareth taught you in this new government, they don't apply. Those 15 days, what did they do during those 15 days? Playing golf? Watching TV? Playing? No, 15 days, there was none of that there. There weren't novels, there were no radio. There was nothing. So why does he have to be 15 days with that man? What do you think he was speaking about? Something he was speaking there that Peter, that animal, that he was from the village, that he knew nothing about the word, nothing about the prophets, because God chose him ignorant so he can commit the filth he's committed till this day. A man that knew nothing, and Paul had to tell him, Peter, all you know how to do is fish. That's all you've done all your life. You know who's Isaiah? You know who's Jeremiah? You know nothing of nothing. No, all I know is how to fish. And as a matter of fact, he didn't even know how to do that because they had to tell him, throw the net to the other side. But in those 15 days, when Paul visited him, he said, Paul, why are you always walking alone? Well, I have the gift of continence. So you don't need a woman? No. Not me, but I have my mother-in-law. Jesus had to heal her the other day. No, but in my case, remember that I am the master builder. In my case, they gave me the gift of continence. And that seems where he got the idea of the celibacy. Celibacy was born there, celibacy. And he got the idea, well, I'm going to establish, and Cornelius can help me because he gives good offerings and he's from Rome, the Vatican is going to Rome. And that's where it all begun. And he opened a kiosk and he separated and he allowed politics to establish itself, and he separated the church for the love of money, because the houses they sold was to form the government of God. Listen, I've received so much money in this ministry, and I've never thought about retirement. I don't have anything for retirement. If I was to retire, it's because I don't believe in this. As a matter of fact, I live in a house right now that my son that is visiting me, he says, Dad, you have to paint the house. But he says, my son, I don't know how much time I'm going to be here. I live and live. I'm not rooted here. I don't know where I'm going to be. I've moved 27 times, and this year I've moved twice. What? A palace? A big palace hidden somewhere where all of you can abide together with me. But Peter, the wicked one, the evil one, he started to stash away. Not profitable for me to give it to the poor. That word was born out of the mouth of Peter. He said, Paul, remember the poor. I'll remember the poor, but they're not poor. They're not poor. That's where that begun. You are rich and I am poor. Listen, awaken, church. Government, wake up. A new government is being formed that's powerful. Listen, and it is being formed under the table, even though I have cameras, but it continues to be under the table of those that are listening to me. When these Catholics open their eyes and these Protestants, I have them in my pocket. I have them convinced to give them the formula to govern. Let's look to Isaiah 55 to see what we're going to charge for taxes. 55 verse 1 to verse 7. Everyone who thirsts, come to the waters, and you who have no money, come, buy. How are you going to buy if you don't have money? That is the justice of faith. Buy it for free. Wine and milk without price. Why do you spend money in what's not bread and your wages for what does not satisfy? Listen carefully to me and eat what is good, and let your soul delight itself in abundance. Incline your ear. That's where prosperity is set in. Incline your ear and come to me, hear, and your soul shall live, and I will make an everlasting covenant with you. The sure mercies of David. Behold, I have given him a witness to the people. Hey, that's speaking about me here. The prince, the ruler, a ruler and what? A teacher, commander. Did Jesus of Nazareth teach? Did Paul teach? No, they shut his mouth. Who taught? The evangelicals, the Catholics? What have they taught? Garbage is what they've taught. It says to the nations. Now is when the nations are established. And who is teaching the nations? That's prophetic. Today, that is being accomplished before our eyes. That is being fulfilled. Today is being fulfilled. Well, standing, let's continue to read. Verse 5, behold, thou shalt call a people that thou knowest not. People thou knowest not. And Gentiles that did not know thee shall run in unto thee. Prepare your life, because soon there'll be an exiting. The churches are closing down. Speak to me about God. Teach me. Do you go to that church? Are you marked with the 666? Look at it there. Speak to me about that. I want to tattoo myself. I want to mark myself. I want that. The people are going to desire it. Don't be ashamed of that number. Don't be ashamed of this. It says, people shall run unto thee because of the Lord your God and the Holy One of Israel, whom has honored you. Seek the Lord while he may be found. Call upon him while he is near. Let the wicked forsake his ways and the unrighteous man his thoughts. Let him return unto the Lord, and God will have mercy on him and to our God. For he will, not in those days it was an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, but he will be future abundantly pardon. He's forgiven all of your sins. You may be seated. I have a few minutes left. I think I was asked by TVGrace, we see that people really love you. Yes, because I've done a lot of good to them. So you are very lucky that you've been chosen for this, right? And I says to them, God doesn't work with luck, my brother. God works with lineage, with blood. But what do you mean that God chose you? I am from the root of Jesse. The stem, the rod. I am from that prophetic vein. I have blue blood. No, it's another color. It's gray. And A's can't with my blood. Hepatitis A, B. You know that they told me that I still have them. Hepatitis A, B, and C. Oh, I received that. That is the wound. The wound, it says that the beast was wounded and he didn't die and he lived. Received that. That's the one that another don't come. No, because they wound the beast. Revelation says, you have to understand Revelations. That Apostle John, he was so confused. Imagine he saw the man Christ Jesus as a beast. Since they dress like that, when they saw me like this, suited up, they say, that's a beast, because before they were all hairy and their beard. They say, what a beast. He is bestial. Huh? What does it say? What does it say? He's bestial. It's that man was a nut. That he sees the beast. And why does the beast have to fight with the saints and conquer them? Because those saints, they are defeated. It's sad. You pity them. You see them on television. Help me, Lord, when he's blessed with every spiritual blessing. Lord, renew me when he has the mind of Christ activated. Lord, save me from the devil when the devil has been destroyed. Well, we have to conquer them. We have to war against them and conquer them. We have to conquer them. Now, can someone conquer us? No, because we are more than conquerors. Abba, Father. Well, it's that I didn't bring any notes, so I am here. The event I've forgotten something. Abba, Father. Galatians 3:16, and we will begin to end our teaching. You're lucky. Oh, I'm lucky. If I won the lottery. Now to Abraham and his seed were the promise made, and does not say, and the seeds as of many, but as of one, and to your seed, who is who? Christ. You know that Christ is a time, A, B, C. Jesus of Nazareth, Jesus, the risen one, and Jesus, the man Christ Jesus. That is the seed, my father Abraham. That comes from there. And it says that in Abraham, we have all been blessed with the believer Abraham, because that's where it started. And Abraham, was he a Jew? No, Gentile. That's where the feast begun. But what happened after the fact, since the Jews were so insignificant, forgive me, Jewish people, but Moses spoke about them. Listen, Israel, don't think that you are something interesting. I've chosen you because you are the most insignificant in the face of the earth. But the mambo begun with the Gentiles. It is to say that the Jews aren't the cream of the crop. What does Colossians, let's read Colossians 1:27. 1:27. There it is. To them God willed to make known what are the riches. To them God willed to make known what are the riches of the glory of this mystery among whom? The Gentiles, which is what? Christ in you, the hope of glory. This isn't anything. This isn't for the Jews. It is to them he willed to make known, to us the Gentiles. And they treated us like dogs for thousands of years. Not only did they treated us like dogs, but the Mosaic influence still till this day have the eyes of the understanding of believers veiled. Those are the ones to fault, the ones that did damage to the whole world. The Jews with that gospel of works, those are the ones that brought about a curse to the world. The most insignificant race, and you know that they are the richest ones on the face of the earth. They robbed the riches. We have to get them back. So therefore, the Gentiles are the great ones. Listen, he himself said, I will call her beloved, not the pastors. I will call he that was not beloved, beloved. And who was the first to call the church beloved? Let's stand, powerful and mighty people.